Today is Thursday, April the 6th, 2013, the month of Ramadan. And the day of Ramadan would be, if Tuesday was the 13th day in Ramadan, today would be the 15th day of Ramadan. So I'm trying to keep track of all of those dates because I need to update my calendar to be true, and it's really difficult when there's 1,000 different calendars that people go by. I got a call earlier today, or a text message earlier today, because people seem to like to freak out. I'm not going to say that. It's in terms of the digital currency that everybody's putting the buzz out in the streets as it relates to their concerns with what you eat in Sincere Bay. What you eat? What's that? What you eat?
That's what people say when they see somebody with a fat ass.
What? Yeah.
I'm eating a salad and listening.
Can't nobody hear you. Can't nobody ever hear Sincere. What is going on with your butt? What? What do you eat?
I think something wrong with your computer.
Can't nobody hear you. You're talking, but nobody hears you. Sorry.
Can anybody else hear me? Say yes.
Still can't hear you.
Yeah, he's eating a salad.
Put it in the chat. How about you just put it in the chat? I don't know what's going on.
Yes, you can't even hear.
Her computer.
Y'all said he's eating a salad.
I'm trying to put it on everybody else's computer.
I didn't hear it. I'm just trying to say. All I heard was myself talking. I didn't hear. I'm like, he's talking, but I don't hear nothing he's saying. You eat a salad. Good for you. Good for you. Good for you. That's awesome. Definitely get those alkaline energy.
He ain't playing.
I didn't know he was sitting there talking. Everybody like, yeah, sure, he's speaking. Anyway, thank you for that. Yo, I made some shrimp. No, I did not. I made some mushroom wraps. Sauteed some mushroom, onions, and red peppers with garlic and green peppers with some lovely seasonings, and wrapped them with the little egg noodle wraps. I made those earlier today. And then I made some fresh juices as well. The juice that I made today was apples, fresh apples. Chriselle would be really, really happy, and he's not here for me to brag, but the juice that I had was carrots. It was carrot, lemon, orange, ginger, and I think that was it. That was the juice that I had today. And I'm going to make that juice like different beet juice just to get us on our energy, because like I said, today the weather is like, I don't know if it's just me feeling a little different, but the weather is it's a little hot. It was 75 degrees today. I don't know about where you guys are, but it was 75 degrees today over here on the East Coast. And
it's freezing.
You said it's freezing in you down there in Harrisburg. How you freezing? It's like 65 now. What you mean? You cold?
It's cold as heck.
What's the temperature in Pittsburgh?
It's like 50.
What? How you got 50 and you only what? Well, you're about 4 hours away from me.
Mm-hmm.
It's the last time I checked, it was 79 degrees down here. That's not normal for this time of year, y'all. It's really, really hot. And just imagine if it's 79 degrees now, by the time summer come, everybody gonna die. If you ain't hydrated, I'm telling you, we gotta get on our herbal and our better eating habits. We really gotta get on it, because this sun's gonna annihilate us this year. It's gonna be really, really hot based on what everybody's talking about. And, we got to make sure we cleanse ourselves. We got to make sure we have our water. We got to chakra it up. We got to do all those lovely things that we don't do consistently, as well as yoga. I was going to start yoga today. I didn't get a chance to because I woke up too late. Literally woke up too late today to start yoga. But hopefully at the end of the class today, I will be able to get into the yoga mood. But let's talk a little bit about this digital currency that's supposed to be coming online in July. Any thoughts about it? Because someone called me alarmed about that, and I don't know why our people are alarmed. You're dealing with fake currency as it relates to now anyway. The only difference is instead of having the monopoly money in your pockets, it'll just be on some type of card or something. So my question is, why are you scared? What are you scared of? What are you in fear of?
That's what the 686 bill that they just passed. It doesn't really have to do with people that aren't citizens, but they're still attacking nationals in there. I didn't get to read the whole thing, but it has to do with how they want us spending our money. If they deem it unnecessary, like say we want to buy gold and we post some shit on social media that contradicts their narrative, they'll block our funds.
Well, what would give them the authority to block you? You talking about on a specific platform?
It's because it's private. It's private under their rules.
Are you talking about a specific application, or are you talking about the World Wide Web?
I'm talking
the
about
web
the
in general.
Central bank digital currency. That's what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's private, just like the Federal Reserve note. You have the rules.
Same
you gotta
thing.
follow their rules.
But they're saying the bill that they're trying to pass now, if it has anything to do with anything that deals with Russia, China, any of that, then they can confiscate you, confiscate your money, pay a $250,000 fine, and they can throw you in jail.
Don't you have to be in a specific jurisdiction for that to happen?
No, the way they're setting this up now, because of TikTok, because the new TikTok ban that they're trying to do is now making it across anything. Anything that you order offline, just say you ordered an outfit, but if it has anything to do with outside Korea, Japan, any of them, then they can confiscate your phones, your laptops, everything, charge you and throw you in jail.
Charge you what? What are they going to charge you with? That's my question. What are they going to charge you with for purchasing something from India, China? Because overstanding, the way it gets through, you overstand it. This is Morocco, right? So and it's coming through ship or cargo freight ships, or it's coming in the air, and it's getting past the different ports. So it's coming in. How are they going to stop you from purchasing something they already allowed to be on the shoreline? That don't make sense.
Because that's what they're trying to ban. Right now, they're trying to ban anything that has to do with any overseas companies, anything that has to do with overseas period where we're getting it, then they're automatically, through your Bing, anything that has a camera, anything that your computers, everything, your phones, anything
Anything that's connected to Wi-Fi, yep.
If the government is now free to look at everything, go through everything, they don't have to tell you nothing about it.
What government are you talking about? Because this is the point I've been trying to tell y'all. Y'all be missing the beat, missing the step, missing the. You got to understand. Everything is specific, and everything is lawful, right? So if it's coming, the point I'm trying to make, how is it getting here, and then they're trying to hold you accountable for it getting here? They're letting it through the borders. They the ones control the borders. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're right.
But
so what you're saying to me makes no damn sense. That's my point.
They're giving you the crack and saying you can't smoke it. They're giving you the crack and saying you can't smoke it, pretty much. That's what she's saying. They're giving you the drugs and say, don't smoke the drugs, y'all. Even though I'm putting it in your hand, don't do nothing with it.
It's nothing new. That's been done before.
Yeah, it's the same thing. How are you going to make something illegal that they're allowing to come here?
Because they want to be the ones in control of what you get.
I keep trying to tell y'all got to realize, y'all got to get to the point of stop watching social media. Because apparently social media's got y'all all on a frenzy. And y'all don't know what to believe. And because y'all so used to believing everything that Albion says, y'all in the uproar over something that don't even make sense to be in an uproar or rebel. Because what is actually, like, nobody can stop you from trading with any country unless you're a United States citizen. So if you're a United States citizen, then you can get stopped for doing all of those things because that's the only person they can regulate is United States citizens. They can't tell you who you can and can't, like if you read the treaties, they can't tell you what you can and can't do if you're not within their jurisdiction. So for me to sit here and have a conversation about digital currency. The only difference is you won't have the fake currency in your pocket. It's on a digital credit card. Let's just call it that, a digital credit card. Let's say it's in your wrist, or you got to wear one of those little cute little bands where you just swipe it on your wrist and it goes right to your little account. You still have the ability to liquidate it into lawful currency, but that's up to you.
Can I ask
and what you ultimately want to do. Do you want to interject, Buck?
Yes, please. Did anybody actually read the laws that they have on it?
I know I didn't, because I don't read United States citizens stuff.
They have rules and rules and stuff, but they're going off of the old system. Because this is a new system, they're making up the rules as they go. It's a trial going on right now between Ripple and...
Move back from your mic because you have... Yeah, thank you. Go ahead.
It's a trial been going on since 2000. Like the end of 2000, it was a case between Ripple and Security Exchange Commission, the SEC. And that's going to determine the rules and regulations of how crypto is going to be governed, how it's supposed to be traded and moved, what's the security, what's not security, and all that stuff. And it's coming to a head right now. And because all the other countries are turning against America, America is it's like a cat in the corner right now for America. You know what I'm saying? They got to do something, or that's it. It's over.
Well, that's already over for them. And this so-called digital currency is because they probably can't trade in Federal Reserve notes anymore. And I don't necessarily get into the what are they going to do? What are we going to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't pay attention to politics as it relates to Albion's because their market is the market is no longer their market. The land and the trade is no longer. They're no longer the ruling power anymore because of the enlightenment all over the planet and everybody establishing their own states, right? So let's think about the establishments of states. Once states start getting established, you have treaty agreements against those with those other states. And understand, what do you need from another state that your particular state doesn't produce? Think about it this way. Now, once the states are established and once they get control over their particular jurisdictions, they'll start treating with not only, let's say if they wanted to treat with the so-called de jure United States of America, they could treat with China, they could treat with anybody they want. It's a free market. It's an open market. The only people that they could literally force to capitulate to their regime are those individuals that continue to identify as United States citizens. Outside of that, they couldn't hold you to that. You understand what I'm saying? The wealth is in the land and the resources. Getting control of that is the most important part, right? So that's what Moors need to just stay focused on, getting control of the markets and the land, and the only way you can do that is by the establishment of the Moroccan states. Islam? So every month or every 2 months, you're always, or let's say years, they're always just putting a buzz out there to scare the people. Because understand, they scared the people. Every time they start talking, their whole point is to make you feel fearful, so you will do what they ask you to do. That could be pull money out. You stop watching them. Literally. I mean, take the information that you think you're getting from them, but understand they came here as criminals in their lives from the moment they got here. So you shouldn't even be relying on them for information at this point. Our communities function based on our unity across states, as well as us supporting each other. Because what do you ultimately need in a community to survive? Obviously, you need a populace. People need to know how to do some things. You need to learn how to build houses, get in construction. You know how to farm. Basic things. So we need to stop rethinking that every time the Albion say there's a catastrophe coming, that there's actually a catastrophe coming. And it's only a shakeup in their own infrastructure. It's not a shakeup in yours. As long as we separate ourselves and don't be a party to their issues, because we don't have the debt that they owe. They owe that debt. It's not ours. It's theirs. And they can't, when these other countries want to make do on their investments that made with the United States of America, they can't hold any of us accountable for them because we didn't sanction none of it, nor are we a party to any of those contracts. That's the messed up thing when you denationalize a people and then you stop telling them about themselves or giving them any support or any aid. Now all of the contracts and all of the agreements that you participated in while we were asleep, that's on you and him. That ain't got nothing to do with me or our land that we just now claim back. So all these different governments coming over here doing business, owning hotels, the Hindustanians, they don't have any interest. Their interest is in that dead paper that they put faith in gold and silver backing. That's where their stuff is. So that's what we have to understand. This fight is between the United States of America and them. They don't have any holds on the land. They can't force us or compel us to perform or give land based on contracts that were never even lawful at the time that they were established. Islam?
Islam.
Very wrong. I see what you're saying.
Islam.
At the same time, in the art of war, you got to study the enemy. And so
Absolutely.
what we dealing with is we got to study the enemy because what they are doing can affect us because they have an organized structure. Again, going back to codification, we are not organized in fashion yet to carry out in large masses the things that you just said out of your mouth, in my opinion. So what they're going to do can have an effect on every person on this call as it pertains to your bank accounts or how, the
well, you gotta keep. When we talk about bank accounts, we gotta get back. We gotta get out of the land of Oz, because in your bank accounts there ain't nothing in there. There ain't never been nothing in there, y'all.
Right, we get that.
I'm trying to get us out of that slave mentality that we seem to keep enslaving ourselves with, thinking that we have an interest in what's in those accounts that's in those banks. There ain't nothing in the banks. They've been telling you ain't nothing in the banks this whole entire time. I'm trying to tell you the wealth is in the land. And I understand when people have a disconnect saying, no, if they do this, well, what can they do? When we establish ourselves and we unite ourselves and we establish these states, that is the solution. But we're going to keep making excuses for them? Why our people? Because our issue is not with the Albions. Our issues are with each other. The fact that we can't get 7 people in all the states to establish a state and unite all of those states. That's what we need to focus on, and that is our problem, our internal problem. The fact that we have so many people against us in our liberation, and those people look like you and me. They ain't got shit to do with the Albions or the Hindustanians or the Chinese people. Even though those people might be funding those people to do those things, our problem is in-house, and it's always been in-house. Why can't we get 7 people in Virginia, 10 people in Ohio, 12 people in Minnesota, and the list goes on? Why aren't our people serious enough to get it done? And why do we keep making excuses, leaning on 1 or 2 people across the whole world? Our people lean on 3 people or 4 people, and that's not fair. We all have a vested interest in doing what we need to do, because if we don't secure our land, that's the only reasons these things, cryptocurrency, freaking digital currency, is going to affect us, because we're not doing our job. So we can't blame it on Albions. We can't blame it on no other nation. We blame it on ourselves, because we are at a deficit. And that deficit isn't just the foods we eat, y'all. It's your mindset. The fact that none of y'all trusts are done. The competencies where, if you look at people's cases and you look at what these people have been doing on our watch to us, why majority of our people are in facilities, but the cool thing about it is most of them in there are learning. So when they come out, they'll be a benefit of their people. And when I say their people, I mean their family first, obviously. how we get out of this, y'all. So cryptocurrency, the land, the resources, we take that claim to the ICJ. But you got to be a state to take it there, and you got to be competent to take it there, and you got to be willing to do the work. And where I stand, most of our people are not willing to do the work. They got blockers. They got blockers. I don't know what the fuck the blockers are, because I see very clearly.
It's fear.
Fear, you better get rid of it because that's sin. I don't know what to tell you about that. All I know is I see that the prize is us elevating. Look at you. Like, anyway, we can go down this rabbit hole all damn night. What we talking about tonight? What we supposed to be talking about tonight?
About the trust. I was about to say it.
Declaration of trust.
My trust done. My trust is done. But what I'm trying to do is, again, I'm still.
Your trust is done, but the point is, whenever you're talking, whenever you're doing anything, you should be doing it through that trust. When I'm talking about notifications. But again, I don't know your personal situation, so what?
That was the reason for my questions from last class. So that's why I be asking questions about it, so I can continue to know how to maneuver with it. Again,
where you domicile at? Where you domicile?
I'm in Richmond, Virginia.
Virginia. Nobody. We might have one person thinking about establishing a state of Virginia. One, and you ain't that person.
Right.
Your interest in anything starts with your trust. And the trust can't be activated, can't even necessarily be utilized in a real capacity till the state is established. I'm trying to tell y'all. Y'all looking backwards. Everything in terms of trust preparation. And you got to be good at this in terms of realizing it's all trust law. It's all contract. It's all contract. Everything is contract. What am I agreeing to? What am I subjecting myself to? What is my interest in it? So when we talk about trust law, we talk about contracts. When anybody comes up against you for whatever it is, some people have mortgages. Some people go out there and buy these houses that need so much work at like $5,000, $20,000, and they build them up, right? That's interest. So you have interest in property, and you're not securing that interest in the property because you haven't learned how to do that or operate through the trust because you haven't learned how to do that. And to do that, it's literally to operate the same way you're operating now. You're doing it through your trust, and you're making sure you know the laws that so coincides. If somebody's not a party to your trust, they can't make any decisions as it relates to your trust. But what they can try to do is put a claim against your trust and try to get access to it that way. The question is, how can you defend it if you don't even know what the hell's going on? Because you don't even realize this party that's claiming something doesn't even have any interest or even a contract with you, but yet they're still trying to get something from you, i.e. the municipal corporations that are in all these so-called all over the Moroccan Empire. And the Moors are hiding in temples and churches. Still doing nothing, though. Still doing nothing. And we're talking grown people that's trying to act like they're adults. Come on, man. Adults know how to run stuff. And for the betterment of its people.
Islam, Yeshua, but I think the issue is that, most people are not willing to put their life on the line.
It's important. You keep thinking that you got to put your life on the line.
I'm hearing, the conversation I'm hearing is like, well, then you become a target, and then I'm coming back like you're already a target.
You're already a target.
I feel like we don't have anything to lose.
You already dead to them, though.
They want the benefits, but they don't want to do the work. I want to be naturalized and get all the benefits.
Without work, you can't get nothing done. I just want y'all to know that. If you're not willing to do anything, and if you're willing to sit here and say, "Oh, they're gonna target me," I'm gonna be well. Then you might as well just sit down and let the people who ain't got that fear and who don't sit here and put this mystical. Because of course, anything can happen to you any moment of the day, and it's already happening to you.
Yeah,
it literally is. They got half of our people. They got half of our people to get a shot to work to go to school, to go to college, and our people did it. Our people did it. A lot of them. So was somebody else supposed to fight for the people that can't fight for themselves? Yeah, I know I am. I'm not fighting just for myself. I'm fighting for us all. And let me be real with you. I'm not scared. I'm not afraid to die. Death is inevitable. If that's what you're afraid of, man, just go in the corner and just chill. That's all I can say to you. I can't say nothing else.
We already did to him, y'all.
Because fear has no place here. It has no place here. Fear is false information appearing to be real. So you're fearing something that could possibly never happen. I've been saying this from the beginning of time. And when you are emotionally charged, and when you are thinking about your life and the things that you got going on, you're blocking your frequency to know. We're trusting outside of our spirit, outside of our culture, because a lot of us on this platform don't even acknowledge it or respect what their ancestors were or did, because they don't even know. We're scared of Islam. We're scared of Arabic. We don't like Christians. We don't, all these reasons to be separate. Not one to be together. And Sincere Bay, you put your frustrations, I can see it clearly in your face. And your mannerisms. I hope you don't show that when you outside. I'm just saying. When you in front of motherfuckers and you need to make magic.
Nah, I don't. But in this capacity, yeah, a little bit, because like I said before, I think, again, we're talking about getting the people educated on which is one aspect of the situation. And that's a whole totally
That's the biggest aspect. What you talking about? The knowledge is the biggest aspect. It is the lack of knowledge that stops people from being able to even get out of their own issues.
Right, I get that part. That's why I say it's one aspect, because it's knowledge. But then you also got wisdom and understanding. So the knowledge part is one tier, and we on that tier as a people. Not just people on this call. We're talking about us all over the nation. People
Right.
need to be educated. Then from that knowledge that they get, they need to know how to operate, which is wisdom. Wisdom is the application of knowledge. So that's a codified situation. So
Wisdom is not necessarily the application of knowledge, but understand what is knowledge? Do you really have knowledge if you don't know how to operate? Do you have it?
Knowledge is consciousness or awareness. It's what you're aware of. So you can be aware of a trust, but if you don't know how to operate with that trust, you lack the wisdom, the application of knowing how to move to bring.
Wisdom is not something that wisdom. I don't like that analogy with knowledge comes wisdom. Wisdom comes when it comes. Knowledge can elevate that wisdom, but some people be stupid as hell, but have some. But let me clarify. Hold on.
Let me clarify what I'm saying.
Thank
what
you.
I'm saying is knowledge is one part, but now the execution of that knowledge. I'm not going to use the term wisdom. You don't like that. Messing with the mind. I'm going to say
applied knowledge.
How to apply that knowledge on the trust or any of the information that we're utilizing. Now, what I'm saying is, in what I see to best do that, because I heard you say you was a Sagittarius sun, Cancer rising with a Pisces moon.
So I'm pay attention.
Like Pisces sun, Sagittarius ascended with a Capricorn moon. So when things don't have structure, it irritates my mind because I understand that structure is needed in order to make this operate. So we need systems and codes. Now, I'm not the person that can just sit up and make a system or all the type of systems just for me only, but I understand that that is what's needed in order to progress this thing forward. You may have to have the first tier of people getting educated. Then you have the second tier of people knowing how to operate, because that's two different aspects. Having knowledge and knowing how to operate is two different things. I say it's knowledge and wisdom. You say whatever you say. You know what I'm saying? But those is two different aspects, and just the teaching part is one thing. Now people have to know how to operate, but we're still in the teaching phase, and that's going to take some time. So in the meantime, we're talking and studying about the CBDCs, because if we're not at a certain level of organization at a certain time before these plans get to moving, we need to know what's going on, because if not, they will affect us. The part of the reason why the Caucasians is so effective is because they are extremely organized. That's the only reason. They're not smarter, but they're organized. That's the science. So that's what my mind focuses on when I hear you talking. And so sometimes you may see the frustration on the face because I'm processing what you're saying, but then in my mind I'm trying to figure out, well, how does that get practically carried out in a practical situation, if that makes sense.
That makes a whole lot of sense. Absolutely. And understand, when we talk about avions, they have processes and codes. Moors, they got that from y'all. They got that from us. They didn't have that shit. We gave them all of that knowledge and all of that wisdom and all of that structure. Our ancestors did that. Not to mention, how we fell was because is the same reasons we're in the position we're in. Lack of unity and just disrespect for our own selves. When we talk about sin and when we talk about how our people are really, really, really their own worst enemy, we are our own worst enemy. Because whenever it's time for us to get together and do shit, we make excuses for why it don't get done. Just like, for instance, let's take the 30 people that's on this call. Who's gotten their trust done, but who understands what it means? It ain't about just doing the tears. Why you think the last class, and once we get through, because in a couple of minutes we're going to start, understanding what you're doing as opposed to just doing it. You have to be able to connect those dots as it relates to your estate being an open market for anybody who want to have interest in it because they know you're not controlling it or securing it. Right? They built up this whole fake-ass fiat system to get our people to think, people in general think that they're working towards something and that they own something, and in that system they own nothing. And you know that because let you stop making a payment, everything that you have is gone. So you don't own it. That's including the bank accounts. You don't even own the bank accounts. As soon as they want to take something, they take it. We have to at least be knowledgeable enough to say, we got a problem, let's fix the problem. How can you fix the problem with half of the people who are part of the damn issue? And we can't even find them and get them out. We're all on emotionality. So when you have an issue with the things that you own, and understand throughout history, a lot of the things that you've owned and your ancestors owned, you don't even know where it's at because it's already been taken. So when we do these tiers, and when you complete your declaration of trust, you're getting in control of at the basis, in the basic of it, you're getting in control of you first and foremost. Because the trust that you need to establish is with your own self. I've had many people on the call say, oh, when I get a document in the mail from these Albions, I just throw it away. I don't acknowledge it. Why not? They're putting a claim. They're putting a claim against you. And the first process in that claim is notification. Because of the lack of a system that you're talking about, and that system is what? I'm going to tell you what it is. It's a nationality. Y'all don't get it. It's a governmental system. So they can't take from you. And if you don't establish that, what's ultimately your remedy within that system? Especially if they go on digital currency. So some people say, well, if it's digital currency, they can just go into your bank accounts and steal your money or steal it through their political Administration. So say you owe credit cards. Let's say you owe credit cards. You sign a contract for a credit card, and you have $500 balance in the credit card, and you go into a default, meaning you start making payments on it. And we're talking digital. So now they put a claim in their jurisdiction, and then once that claim is effectuated, they put some type of notification to the bank, and now you're down $500 without you doing anything. Now the question would be, what would be your recourse in their system? Well, in their system, the recourse is to have a trust and to make sure you don't do contracts and to make sure you don't operate or get a let's say get a credit card for, let's say, $1,000 in it, and then you don't make the payments on $1,000. Well, now they're going to hold you to the contract that you actually signed. So maybe you should stop getting into contracts that you don't ultimately plan on fulfilling. Same too with taxes. People buy houses. They forget that they had the tax bill because they don't get a bill in the mail every month or every year, let me say. So now they're default on that bill. So it's about knowing what's in your trust, what your obligations are within that trust, so they can't in the back door come sneak in and take what's yours. So it's about knowing what's in what assets you have, claim to have, and who else is a party or investor in that asset. So you're playing Monopoly even though y'all ain't playing, because y'all throwing away those documents in the mix, those documents that you get. Same too for voter registration. Same too for anything that you get. So we like to buy stuff, y'all. We like to buy stuff. We like to go and apply for things, but we don't understand the ramifications, and that's for all of us. And getting those. And then we can't even, as a family, come together to create a business, because that'll get imploded because we all have differencing of opinions, but it's more ego and pride. Or lack of misunderstanding, and then you got the schisms issues. LaWanda, you had a question? You raised your hand. LaWanda? I can't hear you, LaWanda, if you're speaking. Okay, maybe LaWanda does it, and she might be having some technical difficulties. So what I'm ultimately trying to say is, the way we secure our future, the way we secure our present, and the way we secure our land is establishing these Moroccan states. And a part of that establishment of Moroccan states is the nationality, is us coming together to get it done. All the people on this call should know each other, especially if you live in the same territory. Y'all should be having those little once a week or once a month meetings. I think it should be once a week, because we start getting lost in the sauce if it's too much time going in between from one moment to another. We get lost in the matrix, literally. It's about having those meetings. What are we going to do just by starting with talking? But if we're going to sit here and say we can't make the time to do these, why do you think I started the Matriarchal Council of Women support group? That the first class or the first meeting is on Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. For us to get something established within the territories, to hold the states that are established accountable for establishing different things. Did Wakita jump off? I think she might have did. Where you at, Wakita? Oh, there you go. Y'all, the thing just be moving around. So the men should have their own support group as well, because we need a platform where we come back together to start doing things that we need to do for the communities and for each other. So we can make the time to get these things done, because like I said, this is not difficult what we're doing. But we try to make it seem like for some reason there's some disconnect in our mental faculties that we can't, when I'm not on this call or this call is not being had, you're not doing your due diligence. So I'm going to implore, who's on this call from Virginia? Who's in Virginia? I know you are sincere. Who else on this call is from Virginia? Nothing?
Yeah, just
One person? Sincere, you ain't been meeting no other Moors down there in Virginia land?
I've met some Moors in
I live
What you say, Shawty? I can't hear you. Your mic is on. You live in Virginia?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so there's two people on this call from Virginia.
Who was that?
That's Shawnee.
I'm looking for that name.
Shani. She's right down the bottom. On my screen, anyway. So you got two people from Virginia.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, fix the screens.
You telling me to fix the screens?
It's wrong.
What am I supposed to do with the screens? What's wrong with the screen?
I don't know. It's only stuck on your console training thing.
Oh, that's the you gotta go click on the other thing. You gotta click on the free conference call platform and double click on it, and you'll see everybody. I see everybody on my screen. Your screen is unique to your screen. You gotta play with it.
Oh,
So if you only see one person, you gotta double click on it, and there's an icon down that shows you views.
If you have just,
I'm viewing the gallery view. You might be viewing active speaker view or compact view, or you're disabled all views. You got to make the selection. I'm in gallery view.
if you have just the pictures at the top like I have, you scroll to the end of it and you have an arrow that you can just hit that arrow and it'll go over and you'll start seeing everyone.
Yeah.
Islam, Shawnee, meet Sincere.
Well,
Introduce y'all. Say hi.
About to say that.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Johnson.
I put the camera up, but I can't figure it. I'm gonna figure it out in a second.
I was gonna finish answering her question about meeting other Moors here. I've been studying on this platform for a year now. I came last April. I am familiar with some Moors who are here in Richmond, Virginia, but they are in an incorporated temple. And I met with the Grand Sheikh, and I was asking him when I was, first trying to get familiar with really what it is that the Moors teach. And as it pertains to the civics aspects of things, they were going the more religious route. So aside from those individuals, I don't know no other Moors that are, knowledgeable in the venue. No. But of course, I'm around our people all day. But outside of that, no.
So that's an issue.
Right.
And we got to come together. And like I said, at the last Friday of every month, we have the Baraka Statehood Matrix meeting. And on that meeting, as of right now, because y'all gotta start getting serious. We got Strength. There's a Moore from Strength, and he was invited to this call. He's in Virginia, so it's three of y'all. So now we got. I can write this stuff down, but come on, this is the part of the process. If you in VA, come together. You got Sincere, and I remember Sincere and Shawnee in VA. Do we have anybody here in Rhode Island? Since we only got three people, and Strength El Bay was another Moore in the Virginia area. Until you start activating and really start doing, you're not going to find the people because they're not going to just drop onto your laps, Moors. I started this track. I started this by just having class on YouTube with one member. And then I started having it in the library. That's how I started it. But if there's no action that's going to be had, getting into your community and doing community events, or at least going to them, finding out what your people are doing in your community, and if there's no organized, structured body, you'll create that newsletter.
Okay.
Islam, we got to get out there. and do things. And I've been to a couple of more science temples, and they're trying. Many of them are moving back to where they're supposed to, but some of them are not. And the ones that you visited probably are not. Keep moving till you find the right one.
Yeah, I'm putting my phone number in the chat, so Shawnee and anybody else that's from Virginia, you can just text me and we'll connect.
Islam. That's how it starts, y'all. Y'all connecting and being serious. And realizing the one thing I'm going to tell you is the consistency. The consistency is the issue with Moors. Islam Sincere. Oh, you gave it to me private. You did that privately to me, Sincere.
Oh, my fault.
May I speak, Mother Yasmin?
Not yet. Give me 1 second. Anybody from Rhode Island? Going once. Going twice. John, you in? Oh, I know where you at, John. Hold on. Let me see where's that at. I'm going to put you on there because I got Wakita there. Actually, I'll add her. And then we got Ja. So we got Wakita and Ja. So Georgia territory is Wakita and Ja, I believe. I don't know if anybody else here is in that area. Now, anybody obviously in Pennsylvania, you covered because we got a Moroccan state in Pennsylvania, so, we're good. We're working. Y'all are, what is up with the lovely hair color down there, Dominique? It looks interesting. I don't want to get all sidetracked. You like to sidetrack me. Minnesota has a good amount, good number. Who else is it? Ohio, obviously, Sade. Ohio has a lot of people. I don't think we have anybody here from New Jersey. Florida, we got one for Florida so far, I think. One for California. I don't think anybody here is in New York. Right? We don't got no New York here, do we? We got North Carolina, K-Town. And that's Tanya. Pennsylvania. Who's this up here? What is RVA? Oh, that's what is RVA? I don't know what that is. PA, Ohio.
Do we have anybody in Nebraska?
Say it again. You said Nebraska? Wait a minute. I heard somebody was from Nebraska the other day. Who's that from Nebraska? That's you, Athena?
Yeah.
I just talked to somebody from Nebraska. North Carolina. So I got Athena, Nebraska. I got North Carolina, Tanya. No Rhode Island. And this is going to grow. Alaska. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. Alaska. So that one. Shucks, yeah, there goes Lawanda's in PA. I didn't know he was in PA, Lawanda. So we have some good energy on here. Then we got other people that just didn't want to self-identify. We got that. We won't have that in these classes. So that's the start of it. Coming together and just having a phone conversation, or if y'all close enough, going and meeting at a library just to throw ideas out at each other. But like I said, we have a meeting at the end of the last Friday of every month to talk about Moroccan statehood. James in Chicago. Islam. Chicago, I don't even have that yet. Islam.
I know a brother in Chicago who said they have statehood. I'm going to put his info in here.
Chicago has statehood?
I believe so. I'm going to send you a link.
Yeah, when they start? When did Chicago start? That's good.
I posted something on TikTok linked with somebody, and he basically said that they starting to form statehood and.
Oh, they're starting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, because I asked him, I was like, "Were y'all, recognized by the United Nations and all that?" And he was like, he didn't know because he's not.
Just understand. Let me clarify what recognition means. The United Nations is not a state. The United Nations is an international corporation that is established to keep the peace within the world. So they're an intergovernmental organization made up by other states. Okay? So recognition is not something that they can extend to anyone. You just notify them of the establishment of your state. So our people need to get rid of recognition can only be from state to state. So any of the other, so when Chicago come online or when New York come online, their recognition will come from the establishment of each state recognizing each other as a state. But the UN, when you send your documentation, your Circle 7 or whatever, to the UN, you're establishing your sovereignty through that documentation, and you're notifying the UN of your establishment. Now, one thing you can do is over time, once you make certain, if you want to, become a member state. But recognition is not necessarily anything that a state actually has from the UN, because the UN is not a state itself. Is that clear? Is that clear for you?
Islam. Circle 7 facts.
Circle 7 facts. Yep. And then start operating within that jurisdiction and filling your departments with your, structure like Sincere. Sincere seems like he's going to be that individual within the state of the Moroccan state of Virginia once established to help with the internal controls as well as the processes or codes or whatever systems in place, because realize we're coming from a lack of a system. We're coming from that. We're coming out of that, rather, in the establishment of that. Did you want to say anything else, Kimberly? Because I did kind of cut you off by accident, just to clarify that recognition piece.
No, you're okay. I was looking for this info so I could send it to you.
Okay. Where's your sister at?
Probably still studying.
Are y'all ready to go to Declaration of Trust? Because I think we killed this term out. In terms of getting the names together.
Yes.
Ohio, did Ohio have their first meeting yet, Sade?
No, we did not.
When y'all trying to have it this week? Huh?
Yeah, I'm going to definitely try to. If you got any of those emails, because I couldn't go back in the chat from the last meeting. If you got any of those.
I can send you an email with all the people from Ohio, because Ohio had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got 6 people.
Okay, bet.
For Ohio. I don't think we had anybody here besides the ones that I think you already know from Ohio.
Yeah.
You used the only one that said Ohio in the chat, I think.
Yep.
And then I think I don't know, Chris and Van Shelley from Ohio are not in attendance tonight. But Musa is. It's not Musa. You wanted to add something, Musa, now?
No. I just want to reiterate what the what the brother Nazir said last week, and it's the unity, and we could just come together. That's the bottom line. Come together, iron sharpens iron. What Mother Yashmin was speaking of, what Brother Noble Sincere was speaking of, in my opinion, was the same thing. It's just that it seems as if it's not happening quick enough, but I'm grateful for it to be happening versus not happening at all. So
yeah,
I'm just thankful. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm thankful to even be in the mix.
It's wow. Got to realize we got a lot of internal like I said, our issue is our own dirty Moors. We got too many of them motherfuckers, for real. We got too many dirty Moors causing interference, because this is not difficult what we're doing. It really ain't. The hard part is the human aspect of it. Everything is simple. The human aspect, dealing with the higher self and the lower self that our people are not dealing with. You got to deal with the good part of you and the bad part of you. The part of you that has, oh, it's raining. The part of you that has patience, and a part of you that has an anger problem. And realize when those parts come, because when we're in these organized group functions, and you're in a mad dash, and everybody wants to secure, and they're stressed out, you don't have time. Like, I go through these things where you're in meetings and your point's not getting across, or after about 20 meetings you realize you feel like you've not progressed past meeting one. People feel that way. We're going to talk about you, Dominique. I don't know what you're saying. What's up? What you say?
That's what he had sent me through the email.
Yeah.
I couldn't find the actual link he sent me, but that's what he sent me through the email. He said it's the USAR, and their Secretary of State is Cannon Bay. No,
so you're talking about that state. Is that the state you're referring to in Chicago?
Yeah.
That's not a Moroccan state.
Hell.
I don't know. I know when he said American, United States American, I don't know what that is.
I'm only telling you that because I do know who C. Cannon Bay is. I've had conversations with him. He is chartered through the state of Indiana, I think it is. So he is a corporation just like all the others.
Yeah, good to know. Bro don't know that.
That's not a state. Well, why you laughing? Why you laughing, Sincere? Unmute your mic and tell me why you laughing. And he's expressed that back in 2 years ago or 3 years ago on a platform, when he was on the platform with can't think of his name. Y'all probably know what his name is. Taharka Bay. He was on a platform with Taharka Bay, and Taharka told him that he wasn't a damn state because, like I said, he got his authority, his permission through, I think it was the state of Indiana. That's who chartered that the USAFR.
And he also catching on Clubhouse too. They also is catching on Clubhouse. Yes, ma'am. I mean, yeah.
So that's why it's so important for our people to know when a state is established or an organization is established, to know how they were structured and know how they were. Like I said, they're articles of organization, Circle 7 of facts, whatever you want to call it. You need to know how they were structured and how they were organized.
Mm-hmm.
What you was going to say, Sincere? Because you was going to say something. What was you going to say?
No, I mean, you just said the same thing I said. Like, that takes a whole process of being able to distinguish between that. You know what I'm saying?
It does. Why do you think these classes are so necessary? So when you go into these organizations, you can ask the right questions.
Can I give him the link to this? Because he wants to know, and he seems eager to know.
Who wants to know what?
His name is I don't even know. I ain't going to try to mess up his name. I don't know how to pronounce it, but the brother.
Everybody dying? What's up? Somebody flooding? Goodness gracious. Hold on a second. Let that in.
She must have got a call.
I didn't get a call. I'm just trying to. I muted it because all of the background noise with the ambulance. Apparently somebody's in distress. And it's annoying me because I know y'all hear it. That's why I mute the mic.
I hear it.
So you said who wanted to know? Somebody?
Yeah, he's looking for statehood. He was asking me if he can nationalize through us and if that would basically help him there. And I told him I feel like they need to form statehood there. I said I'm still learning, but I can connect you with the person that forms statehood here and see if you can ask some more questions in depth because I don't know that much about that part.
Yeah, like our people want independence, but true independence, you got to work hard for it. You just can't get a charter from a corporate state. That's anyway. I don't even want to get. Let's get to course material because I know everybody want to kind of jump into trust law. We ready? Because it looks like Sade going to sleep.
Man, you always saying I'm about to go to sleep. I'm ready for you to get into this trust.
I know.
I'm trying to get my done, as you was just so specially saying. Let's go. Chop, chop.
Chop, chop. It's long. All right, here we go. Let me go find what I'm looking for. All right. So last class we went over the number 1, trust name. Number 2, table of contents. The abstract of trust we spent a pretty bulk of the time on, as well as number 4, which was the certificate of trust. So we're going to start with the declaration of trust. Let me make sure it's a clean copy and I'm not showing somebody else's stuff because I'm working on several trusts at the moment. So let me make sure I got the right information out here before I. Okay, good. Yeah.
You're working on several trusts. So you're doing it?
I do trust. I do. Oh my God, I ain't even trying to put that on this public platform. I'm not saying that out loud. I'm not saying that out loud. Like, let me tell you, I do like to do work. This takes a lot. I'm just gonna get back either on number 4 or what number was it? Number 5, declaration of trust. Let me share the screen.
That was a well-kept secret.
I don't intentionally tell you guys things because I want you to do them yourself. That's the best way for you to understand and learn things is to do it yourself when you're operating it. The purpose of me even establishing this class, the class is to show you because you need to do. You don't learn from me just talking to you. You learn from me by doing it. That's how you learn.
That's great, but that was a well-kept secret. I know now. Don't worry.
Secret. People call me and beg me, be like, yes, you're in. Yes, you're in. I'm like, I'll help you, but that costs money. You can do it yourself for free. I'm just going to tell you.
How much it would cost, Mother Yashmin?
I'm not talking about that on this public platform where people start bugging me. I ain't talking about it on the public platform. People start don't tell that. I love y'all. I do. And I want y'all to work through these things sometimes. And I want you to do it by yourself. You know, I want y'all to manifest. Be manifesting. Manifest. So anyway, we're on a declaration of trust. What's another name for a declaration of trust?
Publication of trust.
Say it again. Just the declaration, because this is the declaring. The declaration. Some people might call it this.
Proclamation.
Claim.
Express trust.
A will.
Will.
Estate.
Proof of trust.
Indentured. Haha.
Indentured.
Oh my goodness! I just lost the darn name in my head. It literally left. It's called indentured. It's not just called indentured. It's called something indentured. I can't remember what it's called. Oh, here it is. Does anybody know what that means?
Like a contract.
Yeah.
What?
I gotta redo mine.
Like a provision in the trust, like a contract. It's another way of.
Somebody look up the word indentured. Trust indentured. I don't feel like freaking looking it up.
Landowners tried to get their estates cultivated by indentured labor. I don't know. That is lying. That is not it.
Kyle?
Yeah. A form of labor in which a person is contracted to work without a salary for specific numbers. Why does this keep popping up?
I don't know what you getting. What you looking at? What?
Google
what is going on?
right. Google's messing me up.
I'm messing you up?
No, Google. I need a
Google's always messing up. It's raining down here. So a trust indenture is a written contract between a bond issuer and a trustee that is approved by the SEC. Oh, here we go. Wait a minute. Is this thing? Oh, this thing is recording my talking. Anyway, whatever. Let me go to something else. I'm gonna go to I need a dictionary.
You're welcome, sir.
Trust indentured, a document under which a trust, as one created by the issuer of bonds in accordance with the Trust Indentured Act of 1939. Now, I don't like to add those things in, and again, you got to check your references as it relates to when you get definitions. So I'm just going to, it's a document. A trust indenture is a document under which a trust is conducted. Under which a trust is conducted. The last definition, if we want to pull, oh my goodness, if we want to pull two together, what? A trust indentured is a written contract. So it's a contract. I wish I had my Black's Law. Ain't nobody pull out their Black's Law because apparently everybody laying down. I got to do all the work. Thank you, CLA.
Did you like to sit up straight?
I like to sit up straight because if I do lay down, I'll be sleeping right along with you, Charday.
I'm not asleep, man. You want me to say you what sleep was like?
Your brain is sleeping. Once you lay down, your brain,
I'm very
you tell your
active.
brain it's time to relax.
Nah,
it's
that don't mean that. You can lay down. You know what? I ain't even gonna get into that. I'll hold you to it.
What's the definition of trust? It's indentured. Let me pull mine out. Let me be the students too. Trust. Now they might have it split up because trust indentured is two words in one. Oh, so sometimes you got to go to one word, then you go to the other word.
Yeah, Islam is split up. It ain't together.
So read indenture because we know what a trust is. Read what indenture is. It's gonna say a servant under the trust. I bet you.
I got it. It says a deed to which two or more parties and in which these enter into reciprocal and corresponding grants or obligations towards each other.
That's a good one. That was the definition of trust?
No, that's indenture. Trust and indenture are not together. A deed to which two or more persons are parties and in which these enter into reciprocal and corresponding grants or obligations towards each other.
That's a good one. That's a good definition for indenture.
That's fourth edition of Black Law.
So that was indentured by itself, the word by itself?
Islam, yeah.
Now somebody put it in the chat. Indentured, a noun. Indenture, indenturer, written formal contract for services between master and apprentice. A deed with mutual covenants. This looks like this is from Etymology Online. Such contracts, especially between master and craftsmen and apprentices, which were written in full identical versions on a sheet of parchment, which was then cut apart in zigzag, blah, 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 blah. Enter into a covenant, bind by indenture. It was used earlier in a sense to wrinkle, furrow. So that's a good definition to include somebody else putting in, probably looks like the same thing, but the other one was just a screenshot. So an indentured is a contract. So too is a trust. So a trust indenture, you pull that together.
Contract.
Because a lot of, I'm sorry, say this again.
Contract, basically.
Contract is an agreement between parties. So trust indentured is an agreement between two parties that trust each other that come into a union for whatever purpose or whatever it is so stipulated within the trust. So a trust indenture. They all literally all mean the same thing. They just try to make it seem all this commercial stuff on this commercial thing. So a declaration of trust indenture. I kind of wanted to put it underneath here. So you know that's what it is a trust indenture. Obviously, we remember what the document numbers are, as well as the name of the trust has to be completed up at the top as well as down the bottom, declaration of trust, just to keep you organized and structured, as Sincere would say. So you know how to follow the yellow brick road.
Well, can you show it on your screen?
I'm sorry, show what? What I just did?
Are you showing the demonstration of it, what it looks like?
You can't see? You can't see?
No, I'll
Y'all
put it
can't
back
see the declaration of trust page on my screen. Y'all can't see that?
No.
Can anybody see my screen? I got that page for the declaration of trust.
I can.
Yes.
Well, I'm sharing my screen, so why can't y'all see it?
Okay.
Are you on your cell phone, Sade? What you on?
I'm on my tablet.
I can see it.
Okay,
Let
well,
me go try some
you
more.
no, just,
You might have to change your view.
Yeah, you might have to change your view so you can see both. You might want to put it back in the compact view, as though the person that's talking, you'll see them in the corner, but then you'll see the document while, you know what I mean? I usually do the gallery because I usually toggle through screens. So the name of the trust is up here, obviously. We talked about this in the last class on how you click into the header and how you click into the footer to change the information in there. And obviously, you want to change it once you put the trust name in. The trust name we were talking about on last class was Yeshua Moabite Star Academy Estate Trust. So we were using that as an example of the name of the trust. So now when you go down here, this contract and declaration between the undersigned parties, known hereinafter as the creator and the exchanger, agree to wit. And we remember the creator and the exchanger. The creator is the actual grantor of the trust, which would be the corporate, which would be you and your proper name. So in that situation, the creator for this trust specifically would be, let's say, Yeshua. And the exchanger would be whoever I grant as trustee over the estate. Because we're talking in the form of this being, let me just put it in here. Just to be thorough. What the hell? So it's the Yeshua Star Academy. This is the name of the trust. We'll go down into the footer. I think this is unnecessary for me to do all of this, but you know. And you change it back black. And then you just make the adjustments when they go onto other lines, because I don't like to have multiple lines. And if it does that, then you change the font down a little bit as well. I'm not going to save this document. All right. And then obviously the acronym for the trust name is Yeshua Moabite Star Academy. The date of the trust, we put the date for yesterday, last class, which was 0404. Oops. 0404-2023. Okay? Now, all the important information as it relates to the parties of the trust, all the important information was on the abstract of trust, if you remember from last class. Who the people of the trust are, who are the beneficiaries of the trust, and who are the trustees on the board of trustees of the trust. Some people might just have one. Some people might have a multitude of individuals within the trust. Islam? So that information, you would have the creator and the exchanger. So number one, the creator herein offers for consideration to create an organization under equitable law having a fixed number of certificates which evidence a right of distribution commonly known as equitable trust organization or unincorporated business organization. And the exchanger herein agrees to exchange and trade in and good and valuable consideration for certificates of the newly created organization. Therefore, the parties mutually agree, promise, and covenant as follows. So this information under this declaration of trust in this page, we might only get through the declaration of trust because it's 10 pages. Because I'm going to read it because y'all ain't going to read it. Consideration. Exchanger herein agrees to bargain, exchange, assign, convey, and deliver to this organization or its appointed trustee. See, that was a typo. B, immediately upon execution of this agreement, the creator agrees to appoint a trustee having authority to carry out the exchange and hold and administer the consideration received. C, this initial exchange, a description of the consideration, whether personal and or real property, the number of certificates it issues, shall be documented in the minutes of the organization. Both parties herein contract to perform and agree that this exchange is not a sale or a gift, but an equal in value exchange. Administered as trust estate. A, assets of this organization shall be deemed for administrative purposes, trust estate, and the consideration received from exchange shall be deemed the initial corpse. Corpse are things within the trust. It's trust assets. B, an additional property received from any future exchange or any party shall be deemed an addition to the corpse. Assets in the trust. C, any person may add property of any character to the trust estate at any time by gift, grant, conveyance, exchange, insurance proceeds, assignments, will, or any other method, so long as the property method of transfer is approved by the trustee. So overstanding that the trustee has a lot of power, so you got to make sure the person that you give that authority in your trust has, you trust, for real. And D, all assets belonging to the trust estate shall be listed on Schedule A or an addendum to Schedule A and administered as proved herein. Now, I'm going to stop there real quick and go with the Schedule A. Does anybody remember what Schedule A looks like? Because the Schedule A, oh, it's so hot. I'm like burning up. The Schedule A is where you're going to have put the inventory as it relates to everything that you own. That's fixed, as well as variable, as well as corporeal or incorporeal, tangible or like a trademark, like an image, which wouldn't necessarily be tangible, something that like doesn't exist that you can actually physically touch, your trademarks or your copyrights or your names and stuff like that. Those are intangible assets, or they would reference it as incorporeal. And we're going to go over the Schedule A because you need to actually have an inventory of what is in your trust, but that is not part of the Declaration of Trust. The Declaration of Trust is just declaring that a trust exists. So no one can claim that your property is what? Why are you doing this? What is the purpose of doing this?
Islam says that they don't think that your property is abandoned and steal it.
That's exactly why you established the damn trust. Thank you. And that was so simple. Absolutely. So you're going to have a Schedule A with all property. So for instance, if you got one property that you domicile in, and then you have 10 properties that you rent out, all of that property is going to be conveyed into your trust. And not only is it going to be conveyed into your trust, you're going to list all tangible and intangible assets that are in the trust. So you actually have a record of it. And your trustee actually has a record of it. So if something was to happen to you and you pass away, somebody knows what you own. Because if nobody knows what you own, you don't put a copy of your Declaration of Trust in the probate court for safekeeping, then people will just automatically start divvying up your property and do fake-ass notifications, whereas though they can't prove it Oh, I like your background. It looks good, Athena. You just distracted me by changing it, by the way. And I love when people put their cameras on because, I need to see your faces. I need to see your faces. I would love to see your faces. So the Schedule A, we're going to do a part of the Declaration of Trust, but the Schedule A will not be put in the declaration. Nobody needs to know what's in your freaking trust. The only people that are supposed to know what's in your trust are the parties to the trust. That is the people in the trust, that is the beneficiaries, and that's the trustees. So when you finally finish your trust, at least if they're of age, right, should have a copy of your finalized trust. And again, the public record should also have a copy of your trust, because then you'll have the issues with your family members when you pass. Oh, you don't got an updated copy of the trust. I got an updated copy of the trust. And then you'll have all these issues that you need to deal. Well, you ain't dealing with them. Your heirs are going to be dealing with. So that's what is referred to as Schedule A. And I think that was down on the website. I think that was down in I think that might have been in Section 2. I don't think it's part of Section 1 on the grid, because I took down Parts 2 and Parts 3 of the trust because I wanted y'all to focus on just declaring the darn thing. So I don't think. Oh, here, no, that's the attachments. So I don't think it's here. It's on my computer, but I'll make a point to make sure that gets done and added, so you'll have a record of it, because you're going to list it all out. And I'm going to show you that probably the last template that we ultimately do. So revocable agreement. A, the parties herein agree that this contract and declaration, including all trust provisions contained herein, shall be revocable. Does anybody want to read the definition of revocable? Because somebody asked that question last class, and I want to make sure we have that covered. Black's Law, look into Black's Law.
Doesn't it, for short, mean it can be amended?
I'm sorry, say that louder.
For short, doesn't it mean it can be amended or changed?
Yeah, for short, yep. But I want to give you all the legal term if it's in the Black's Law Dictionary.
Yes, it says susceptible of being revoked. And revoke means to annul or make void by recalling or taking back, cancel, rescind, repeal, reverse.
Thank you. I even have to go look it up. Thank you. B, exchanger irrevocably relinquishes all rights to the property exchanged into this organization. C, neither creator nor exchanger nor any certificate holder shall have any right to revoke or amend this contract declaration. Is that a move? Oh, my Lord. D, amendments may only be made by unanimous approval of the Board of Trustees as provided herein. Further, the Board of Trustees shall have exclusive powers to construe and determine the meaning and intent of this contract and declaration. So we're saying your trustee have a lot of power in your trust, and they're supposed to. Appointment of trustee. Upon execution of this contract and declaration, creator shall appoint a trustee known hereinafter as the first trustee to administer this organization as provided herein. The first trustee shall provide the creator a written acceptance of the appointment, which shall be made a part of the permanent record. Board of Directors. The first trustee, upon acceptance of appointment, may thereafter appoint a second trustee. B, overstand, they can appoint a second trustee because they have the power to do and to act in every way, shape, or form per this trust indenture, i.e. declaration of trust. B, They, in turn, may jointly appoint one or more additional trustees and may designate successors. C, trustees shall collectively act by authority of this trust contract and the trust provisions contained herein as a board of directors, board of trustees, for the purpose of holding and administering company assets. And we could, instead of saying company assets, you could just say trust assets. I don't like using the word company. Company is sufficient, though. For the benefits of the certificate holders. D, all members of the board of trustees shall serve without bonds. Discretionary powers. The parties herein agree that the Board of Trustees shall have absolute and sole discretionary power over this organization as its assets and earnings therefrom. The board shall have authority to determine what shall constitute principal and earnings, how such assets shall be allocated, and shall have absolute authority to determine if and when distributions of principal and earnings will be made to certificate holders. Why is this not moving? I'm just going, I want to redo this page. Acceptance by trustees. The first trustee and all subsequent trustees and successor trustees, by accepting the appointment as trustee of this organization, causes all present and future trustees to agree to the following. They accept the initial gift or conveyance of property on behalf of the organization and acknowledge the delivery of all property specified on the schedule, which is the inventory list. They agree to conduct the organization's affairs in good faith in conformity with the terms. You see, the terms and conditions set forth in this contract and its herein trust provisions. They agree to exercise their best judgment and discretion to conserve and improve the property of the trust estate in accordance with decisions of the Board of Trustees as set forth in the organization's minutes. They agree upon final liquidation of the trust estate to distribute the assets to the existing certificate holders as their contingent rights may appear. Administrative provisions. Trustees and their successors may hold administrative offices within the organization and may singularly or collectively exercise authority granted by the Board of Trustees in the management of company affairs. They are herein authorized to exclusively manage, administer, control the trust estate without the consent of certificate holders. The following specific terms and conditions apply. The Board of Trustees shall be at least one in number and may be increased as deemed necessary in the manner set forth above. A trustee may resign or be removed from the board with or without cause by a resolution of the boards of trustees determined by a majority vote. In the event of death, removal from the board, or resignation of a trustee, the vacant position shall be filled by a successor trustee if pre-appointed, or the remaining board of trustees may appoint a successor by unanimous vote. Should the entire board of trustees be vacant, the trust will make full distribution to the beneficiaries, meaning that they would liquidate and divvy up the assets pursuant to the beneficiaries. The signing and acknowledging of this contract by any trustee or trustees shall constitute trustees' collective acceptance of this contract and its trust provisions and trust acknowledgement that this organization's property and assets are vested in fee simple in the trust estate without any further act or conveyance by the Board of Trustees. Trustees as discretionary fiduciaries shall hold legal and equitable title to all assets. Y'all know what that means, right? And I'm going to stop there real quick. Understand this trust is exactly how the so-called counties within the states that you domicile are operating your estates. This is exactly how they're doing it. So pay attention and look at it in both instances, how they're claiming jurisdiction over you as well as your assets. And the Board of Trustees may provide for meetings as stated intervals without notice. And special meetings may be called at any time by one or more trustees upon 3 days written notice. At any regular or special meeting, a majority of trustees shall constitute a quorum for conducting business, provided affirmative action may only be had upon a majority vote of the trustees. Oops. Whether present or absent, except that in a special meeting called for a special purpose of the majority present may affirmatively act in emergency matters. A telephone or fax vote shall be a valid vote. Any resolution of the Board of Trustees shall be deemed within the Board's power so long as the resolution is not inconsistent with its organizational document and any amendments thereto. Trustees shall be controlled by this document as amended in future resolutions of the Board of Trustees. All meetings and resolutions shall be recorded in a company's minute book. Trustees shall keep proper records and accounts as the Board of Trustees deems necessary for the proper management of the trust estate. So every time that you do make any changes in the trust, whether it be a purchase or a sale, or even a dissolvement, you have to keep a meeting minutes of that transaction or that meeting, let's say. Like right now, we're having meeting minutes as it relates to the Star Academy. So there's a record of it. It's a recording. Trustees shall not be required to individually assume liability for loss of company assets while acting in good faith on behalf of the organization, or for any act or omission of any other trustees, agents, or employees. They shall, however, be liable for their own breach of good faith. If a trustee shall, for any reason, suffer a personal loss while providing good faith service to the trustee shall be reimbursed for such loss from the trust estate. Further reimbursement may be documented in the agreement with the trust. The Board of Trustees, at the expiration of the term as set forth herein, shall wind up company affairs and terminate the company operations, making final distribution as provided. If the organization was recorded publicly, trustees shall file with the recorder a notice of termination, and trustees thereupon shall automatically be discharged, provided final administration and distribution was made in accordance with the terms and conditions of this agreement. Otherwise, a court of equity may be invoked to review and correct any tort or error if only necessary. When there are no longer trustees and beneficiaries, the manager will have the right to dissolve the trust by following the procedures in J. By distribution of the I think that part was the distributions to the beneficiaries. Or now they said, wait a minute, when there's no longer any trustees or beneficiaries. That'll be interesting. What was J? I don't even remember what J was. It would be nice if they said what part J was. I gotta fix that, because what part is that? Any affidavits for public notice, declarations, and honorable clarifications not limited to any corporal or incorporeal hereditaments concerning any conveyance included in the security agreement and or authenticated foreign documents is under the Hague Convention dated the 5th of October 1961. Trustee powers. Trustees shall have general common law powers over the company and the trust estate herein, and may do anything any citizen may lawfully do in any state or country, specifically, but not by the way of limitation. They shall have all rights, authority, and power as follows. And I know and where's Sincere at? Sincere, where you at? We gotta keep him here, so we're gonna make him read the next part, because he like to get lost.
Yeah, hold on for 1 second. I gotta put some away in the kitchen. Give me 1 moment.
Okay. Well, I'll continue while I'll continue, and then when you come back, you gonna start. To compromise or abandon any claims arising out of, in favor of, or against the company and its trust estate and trustees' good faith decision in this regard shall be binding and conclusive on all parties. To manage, invest, and reinvest the trust estate or any part thereof in any kind of property or venture which men of prudence, discretion, and intelligence consider for their own account, without being restricted to investments which are ordinarily permitted by law or customarily used for trust funds, and without restrictions as to the duration of this organization. Specifically included, but not by way of limitation, are real estate, collectibles, gems, artworks, precious metals, corporate obligations of every kind, preferred and common stock commodities, mutual funds, and trust funds. To open, maintain, and close bank and thrift accounts of every kind, and conduct all money affairs of this trust. To sell at public or private sale for cash, credit, or cash and credit, and upon such terms and conditions as trustees may deem proper. To sell, grant, convey, mortgage, option, rent, lease, or pledge all trust estate assets, real, personal, or mixed, in such manner as deemed appropriate and non-destructive to the general welfare of the trust. To borrow on or encumber the trust estate without restriction, and to make loans with or without security. The borrowed funds shall immediately become a part of the trust estate. To allocate capital gains and or dividends to trust principal as may be deemed appropriate or advantageous to the trust estate. To register company property in the name of the company, a fictitious trade name of the company, a trust or nominee, so long as company ownership of such property can be clearly demonstrated. To make distributions in cash or in kind, and to assign values to such property according to trustees' best interest. I gotta fix this. Best judgment. To accept additions to the trust estate by deed, will, assignment, exchange, gift, grant, insurance, proceeds, or any other methods deemed acceptable to trustees. Trustees are further authorized to honor any by sale agreements extant as to any property or interest held in trust. Somebody said something?
Yeah, may I interject? Did you spread that word? According to trustee. Yeah, you didn't separate those words.
I know. There's word. Yeah, I was trying to separate it. It's acting stupid. I don't want to separate it.
Gotcha. Because a couple of them did that too.
It's a lot of words that are doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. That's some type of glitch on this freaking program.
You ready? You ready to leave?
Yeah, you go space. You should.
So I do notice those, and I'm going to fix those offline. I ain't gonna fix them while I'm here because they ain't gonna let me. I might have to just like reduplicate the Dory document in a different Word format to alleviate these formatting issues. These are formatted issues or glitches in the program. I don't know why they do it, but they are there. To elect, what?
Are you ready to pass it off? I'm ready to read.
Yeah, I'm ready because my throat is tired. Yes. Start there.
To elect and remunerate officers from the board or elsewhere as deemed appropriate or expedient. To hire and remunerate employees, agents, or contractors. To incur and pay the ordinary and necessary expenses of administration, including, but not limited to, legal fees, accountant fees, trustee fees, brokerage fees, consulting fees, and the like, and to allocate all the expenses and receipts between principal and income as trustees shall deem proper. To give proxies, to deposit securities with and transfer title to committees representing securities holders, and to participate in voting trusts, reorganizations, and other transactions involving the common interest of security holders. To open margin accounts with securities firms and commodities traders, and to buy, write, or trade in options, commodities, and to make short sales. Trustees shall be empowered to hold securities in their own names, the name of a nominee, in street name, or unregistered in such condition that ownership will pass. Trustees shall incur no liability to the company for any loss. The trust shall indemnify the trustee from all liability. I know indemnify means to insure.
Yes.
Further.
No, it's not necessarily to insure. It's to say that I'm not going to sue you or hold you accountable.
Okay. Further, any securities firm or commodities traders may rely on this document and the trust provisions herein in respect of a trustee's authority without making further inquiry. Trustees are expressly authorized to hold, manage, and operate any company, property, or business or enterprise. The profits and losses, if any therefrom, shall be chargeable respectively to the trust estate. Trustees are authorized to do all IRS 1099s on behalf of the trust estate and have complete discretion, power, and authority to make any decisions or elections that would effectively maximize any returns that are eligible and are attached to the equities of the estate trusts. Trustees may expressly delegate one or more of their powers to any other person or persons as may be deemed expedient for the management of company affairs, and may revoke such delegation at any time by written notice delivered to such persons. Trustees, by a majority vote, may change the domicile of the company with or without cause if they deem such change will protect or benefit the trust estate. Trustees, by unanimous vote, may make amendments to this contract and declaration and take such other consequential actions as they deem necessary or appropriate to protect the integrity of the organization and to ensure the organization will continue to function and be administered in the best interest of certificate holders and in the manner intended. Trustees, by majority vote, may at any time and at their sole discretion wind up company affairs, terminate this organization, and make distributions of the trust estate to certificate holders as provided herein.
And I wanted to stop you real quick because I wanted to give the actual definition of indemnify. To indemnify is to save harmless, to secure against loss or damage, to give security for the reimbursement of a person in case of an anticipated loss falling upon him. So it's holding them harmless. You can proceed.
Right to distribution. Trustees have discretionary powers to make distributions from this organization without regard to equality of certificate holders except for final liquidation. Notwithstanding, a right to any distribution from this organization shall be evidenced by the holding of one or more certificates, and the following provisions respecting such certificates shall remain in full force and be carefully observed by trustees, certificate holders, and interested third parties at all times. Trustees shall be authorized to issue 100 certificate units, hereinafter called TCUs or certificates, representing 100% of the rights to distribution from the organization's trust estate. Trustees shall not issue TCUs in excess of that number. The TCUs shall have no par value, and trustees shall not place any nominal value on TCUs at any time. TCUs are non-accessible, non-taxable, non-negotiable, and limited in transferability. The lawful possessor shall be construed the true and lawful owner thereof. The lawful owner possessor shall be construed the true and lawful owner thereof. Creator herein may own TCUs. No person having or controlling a majority vote on the Board of Trustees, however, shall have or pass any rights to distribution from the trust estate. Trustees are authorized to receive property into the trust estate in exchange for a negotiated number of TCUs. The party exchanging the property shall be deemed to be an exchanger. All owners of TCUs shall be identified on a registry of trust certificate units kept in the company minute book. Ownership of TCUs shall not entitle the holder to any legal or equitable title in the company or the trust estate, nor to any undivided interest therein, nor management thereof. TCUs shall be immune from seizure by any creditor of the lawful owner. Death, insolvency, or bankruptcy of any TCU holder, or the transfer of his TCUs by gift, exchange, or sale shall not operate as dissolution of this organization or its operation or business, nor shall such events entitle his creditors, heirs, or legal representatives to demand any partition or division of the trust estate or any special accounting. Death of a TCU holder shall terminate his or her rights under the TCU, and said rights may not thereafter pass by probate or operation of law to any heir or legatee, but shall revert to the Board of Trustees to be reissued as determined by an action of the board. TCUs may be surrendered to or transferred back to the organization subject to the approval of the Board of Trustees, but may not otherwise be pledged, assigned, hypothecated, or transferred by a TCU holder without the consent of a majority in interest of all other current TCU holders. Should a TCU holder transfer or surrender his TCUs to the organization, the Board of Trustees may, at its sole discretion, assign, convey, or exchange said TCUs to any other persons or entities upon approval of the board. If any TCU holder contests in any court of law the validity of this organization or any provision herein, or the authority of the trustees, that TCU holders' certificates shall revert back to the Board of Trustees and may be reissued to other parties at the discretion of the board. Identified certificates and bonds for trade. This trust and its trustees do recognize Minnesota Rule 220. The ownership of one's own securities and equities attached to the birth certificate, also known as a widely held fixed investment trust. The trust and its trustees also recognize Security and Exchange Commission Rule 144, giving the ability of private exchange for private bonds and securities. These birth certificates do have all the necessary markers to identify it as a bond and security, and will be traded as such by this trust in the name of its grantors and or beneficiaries. Negotiation and exchange. The trustee is herein authorized to bargain, exchange, trade, or sell certificates to a willing exchanger upon board approval of the initial board of trustees meeting or any time thereafter. Notice to third parties. Notice is hereby given to all persons, companies, or corporations extending credit to, contracting with, or having claims against this organization or its trustees, that they must look only to the funds and property of the organization for payment or for settlement of their damages, accounts receivable, or claims. Trustees, officers, or agents of this organization are not personally liable for the organization's obligations. Copies as originals. A copy of this organizational document bearing the seal or signature of a trustee, or a copy certified by a notary public as a correct copy, shall be relied upon as an original document and shall have the full force and effect of the original document in every respect. Purpose and intent of this agreement. This contract with trust provisions is intended to create an equitable and common law contractual company, also known as an unincorporated business organization, for receiving, conveying, or holding property in fee simple, and for providing prudent management of such property, and for conducting any legitimate business through appointed trustees for the benefit of certificate holders. Trustees shall hold both legal and equitable title to the trust estate, and shall act solely within their powers as provided herein and within their common law rights and immunities. The administration of this organization shall be amenable to common law regulation and under the protection of the Bill of Rights as well as Declaration of Independence. Although trustees can seek relief in any court or venue they may choose or deem necessary, if any provision herein is unenforceable, the remaining provisions shall nevertheless be carried into effect. Nothing herein contained shall be construed as intent to evade or contravene any law, nor to delegate to trustees any special power belonging exclusively to a statutory company, franchise, or incorporation, but rather in equity create an equal playing field. Common law and equity organization. Creator expressly declares this to be an organization founded upon the freedoms and rights inherent in the common law of the Republic of the United States for America, and all references herein to the United States shall be construed to refer to the continental United States of America in its original contents as set forth in the Constitution of the United States, the original Bill of Rights, and the state constitutions of the several sovereign states comprising the Union of the United States for America. This organization then is created under the common law of contracts protected by Article 1, Section 10, Paragraph 1 of the Constitution of the United States. This organization is also one built upon equity. Equity is the law, for there would be no need for laws without equity. Equity is everything. It is therefore not created under the statutes of any United States or U.S. state and does not depend upon any statute for its existence. It is not a partnership or corporation or statutory trust, but a separate legal entity having its own common law identity. Legal domicile. This organization shall be domiciled in the state where it conducts its principal business. Notwithstanding, Creator herein provides that upon a majority vote of the Board of Trustees, this organization may be moved to and administered in any state or territory of the United States for America, or in any land where our aboriginal ancestors roamed, settled, or migrated. There is no foreign jurisdiction. Privacy. This organizational document and all company business shall be kept private, protected by the Morocco and U.S. Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1786 to 1835, Privacy Act of 1974, 5 U.S. United States Code 552A, the Fourth and Fifth Amendments to the Constitution of the United States for America, and the common law privacy rights available in the United States of America and every other applicable jurisdiction. Term of years. This organization, unless terminated earlier, as provided herein, shall continue for a term of 25 years. The life of the company may, however, be extended for an additional 25 terms, subject to a unanimous affirmative vote of the Board of Trustees at least 90 days prior to each termination date. At dissolution, the trust estate shall be distributed on a pro rata basis to the then existing certificate holders. Company name. This organization shall be named as shown on page 1 of this contract and declaration. This shall be deemed the company name. Company business shall be conducted under this name, or under one or more fictitious trade names, or in the name of a trustee or nominee determined at the sole discretion of the Board of Trustees. In witness whereof. In witness whereof. Creator and exchanger execute this contract and declaration in recognition of the delivery and acceptance of the property named herein, and in recognition of the powers and duties imparted to trustees of this organization. They assent to all the terms and conditions set forth herein and declare that the effective date of this organizational document is infra. Infra? What is infra? Is that a typo? There's got to be a typo. Infra. She got me on mute. Acknowledgement. In compliance with Title 28 United States Code subsection 1746(1) and executed without the United States, we affirm under the penalties of perjury and to the laws of the de jure United States for America that the foregoing is true, correct, and complete, to the best of my belief and informed knowledge. And further, the deponent saith not, I now affix my signature, official seal, and boundaries to the above document with explicit reservation of all our unalienable rights without prejudice to any of those rights, in compliance with Uniform Commercial Code subsection 1-308. This agreement is entered into and executed willingly, knowingly, and voluntarily by each party in good faith, and shall endeavor to execute the promises, terms, and conditions herein with diligence and in the best interest of the other party. This 14th December 2020, executed at the following address: 1715 Oak Ridge Drive, Kemah, Texas 77565. In witness whereof, we, the living souls manifest, now bear witness with our own eyes and attest through our own hands, notice, and free will writing at the geographic place known as blah, 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 blah. You're on mute.
Well, thank you for that reading. There were a couple of words that were needed to be defined. Infra, that's the INRFA. That's a Latin word, and that means below, under, beneath, underneath. The opposite of supra, above, which is SUPRA. Thus, we say, and then they give you examples. In the first degree of kindred, in the ascending line, above is the father and the mother below, even though it's anyway. In another sense, this word signifies within, okay? And the other word that I wanted to define was fee simple, fee simple. Now there's absolute, conditional, or American, as well as English under fee simple. So in absolute, a fee simple absolute is an estate limited absolutely to a man and his heirs and his assigns forever without limitations or conditions. Fee simple conditional is, at the common law, an estate in fee simple conditional with a fee limited or restricted to some particular heirs exclusive of others. But the statute, D dominus, converts all such estates into estate's tail. Now, fee simple American law, an absolute or fee simple estate is one in which the owner is entitled to the entire property with unconditional power of disposition during his life. And then you got fee simple English law, where it is a free man or a freehold estate of inheritance, absolute and unqualified. It stands at the head of the estates as the highest in dignity and the most ample in extent. Since every other kind of estate is derivable thereout and mergeable therein, it may be enjoyed not only in land but also in advarsums, commons, and estravers, and other hereditaments, as well as the personality as an annuity or dignity, and also in the upper chamber, though the lower buildings and soil belonging to another. So those are the definitions of fee simple, and that was in the Black's Law 4th edition, y'all. Revised 4th edition. Islam. So that was the Declaration of Trust. It is giving you, obviously, certain parts that I'm highlighting, I am absolutely positively changing in regards to, and realize instead of pointing to, one of the things I wanted y'all to know, instead of pointing to any particular law, so for instance, they're pointing to USC subsection 1-308. You don't even have to put that in there. You can just put this agreement is entered into, executed willingly, knowingly, voluntarily by each party, blah, 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 blah. You don't have to mention their law. Just mention what the law says without putting the tag, because that can lead to jurisdictional issues, okay? So I would never put anything in here besides in compliance with, you could put executed without the United States. You could put in compliance with the laws, let's say, of the Moroccan Empire, and they, instead of putting titles in here and all that stuff, executed without the United States. So I'm going to push out certain things like this because it's unnecessary to add. Just put the Just put the language there. That's it. Then obviously this stuff changes. This is pursuant to whoever is establishing the trust. Your information goes here. Overstand, I'm going to redo this page. This whole 10 pages is going to take a minute tonight. I'm going to try to do it tonight since I had a long sleep today. And then this is the mailing location that you so specify. So this is unique.
You get rid of address.
Huh?
Yeah, it says you put mailing location, you can get rid of the address.
So it made some mentions up here that I would take out, like, so for instance, for the Privacy Act of 19, this USC blah, 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 you just put what it says there. You don't necessarily have to point to that particular reference, to that, what it's referencing. Whatever it's referencing, pull it out. But again, I'm going to do it anyway, so you don't got to worry about it. It's going to be done, as opposed to referencing their code, statutes, or anything, because you like the language which is in that so-called statute, codes, or regulations, let's say. Just get that information out of it and leave the codes that reference it. Omit that from the document itself. In any presentment, in all presentments. Like, for instance, this talks about Article 10, Section 10, Paragraph 1. So instead of mentioning Article 10, Section 10, Paragraph 1, put the language in the article and remove the mention or the inclusion of where it was drafted. These are things that you can do because this is a private trust that you don't want to put or even give the semblance of jurisdictions outside of you. So the administration of this organization shall be amendable to the common law and the regulations. And you can leave it there. You don't got to mention that. Although trustees can seek relief in any court or venue they choose or deem necessary. Overstand, that's why you don't put so-called United States citizens as trustees over your trust, because they'll go into a venue that wouldn't make sense for them to go into to effectuate this trust. You want to keep certain bodies out of it, therefore limiting the jurisdictional issues that might come up about it. And you could explicitly say the jurisdiction that you don't want them to go. So the Minnesota Rule 220, I would take that out, put what it says. This trust and trustee do recognize blah, 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 and whatever it says. A widely held fixed investment trust, as well as the SEC Rule 141. So these things I would omit and just put what they're referencing in it and omit the tags. Islam, any questions?
Islam. I was thinking about also removing the 14th Amendment down below, removing that 14th Amendment out because it's unconstitutional. I would take that.
Everything that it was referencing that isn't a party to it, I'm taking out anyway. I don't know where that was talking about that, though. I think I highlighted everything. Like, all of this is going to be rephrased and reformatted. It was below
right
here.
Right there, privacy.
Where is it?
Right there, privacy.
Oh, right here? Oh, yeah, that's why it's highlighted. That's why it's highlighted, because I'm removing it.
Okay.
Islam.
Excuse me, Mother Yasmin.
Yes.
So, because the one I have, it says ecclesiastical at the top of it. So this is going to be
the updated draft that this is going to be the updated draft that's going to be all the older trust documents that are on the website are going to be replaced with these newer ones.
All right, so I just need to be patient.
I'm trying. Like I said, I wanted to have it done today, but I most likely will have it done by, if not tomorrow. As soon as I get it done, I'm gonna send y'all an email so y'all know exactly when it's done.
That's good enough for me. Islam. Thank you, Mother.
Islam. So does that mean don't complete this, or do you just have to go back and do that particular page over?
Say it again, Mama Dukes.
Those corrections that you're going to make, or you're going to take out some things. So on that particular page, just wait till you do what you're going to do, and then complete what you need to complete.
Shauna, have you started your trust yet?
Yes.
You started working on it? You got the documents? Yes. Now, you could go with what you already have and just make amendments to what you have to coincide with this document, or you can just replace the pages that you've already done with the pages that I'm suggesting that you add.
Okay.
So if you've already started it, you will just make some adjustments to those documents that you currently have, or just do them. Like, overstand, when you think about this whole 10-page declaration of trust, you only got to make adjustments on maybe 2 pages of it.
It's right.
And just replace it. You know what I'm saying? Which would be just who is, like, for instance, the only darn adjustment you have to make to this one would be your information here, and a footer and a header, and then down here. You understand? So 5 minutes change by just changing that one page into your document. Did I just confuse the hell out of you? Because you confused me with that question. I just want you to know.
No, because I was doing that page now, and because you're saying this, it's like, okay, so don't do that part yet. Just wait until you make those changes, and then
just use the updated templates that you'll receive and replace them with the ones that you currently have.
Yeah.
Since you haven't completed it, it's not a big change, and it's not going to take you that long to do it because, like I said, a lot of the trust pages are very easy to manipulate and to make to transfer over, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Khalif Bey, you had a question? You unmuted your mic.
Yes, come in, Bay. Referring to the request, on the first page in upper, the request should be in the center, or should be on the upper left or upper right, or referring to your request.
You're talking about your crest?
Correct.
In mine, I have it in the upper left, all at the top and left. So you would put it here. This is where I have mine. Or some people might have it here in the middle. Huh?
Okay. Okay, your little cursor is going up and down in the upper right corner. So you said left, right, correct?
I have mine on some documents over here on the left, on some documents over here on the right, or you can put it over top of your name in the middle.
From a national international law, it should be on the left side to represent a particular nation that's recognized by other nations. How we format our documents dealing with the flags.
Say that louder and say it a little bit easier for me to understand because I can't hear you. What do you say?
Say from a national international law dealing with corresponding, should a flag be on the left-hand side or is it recognized on the left-hand side?
Where are you referencing that from? Because they do have a law on flags and how they're supposed to be positioned. So I would say read that and position it based on that if that's what you want to do.
That's what I got it from because some documents were saying that it should be on the left-hand side dealing with maritime, admiralty law. And they got a lot of hocus pocus
with stuff, but at the same time, where you put your flag on your document, some people put it over here, some people put it over here, but when you see any documents, let's say if any documents that you see coming from any organization, they may, for most of the time, they have it on the left side. So if you want to put your seal, for instance, I don't have a seal for this, you're making me do these things.
Yep, you're going to be doing it sooner or later anyway, so I must go ahead and knock it out.
I'm just using this as an example because it's the first one that came up. You can put it on this side. So that's what you're saying. It's supposed to go on the left side, not the right side. But when you go into church, when you go into court, you're going to the right side. And the corporate jurisdiction, I'm just going to say, I normally do it this side.
Reason why I mention that too, because on the UPU rules dealing with the stamps, some people put the upper right corner a stamp there, and then diagonally, have their autograph.
I keep trying to tell y'all, ain't no hocus pocus with knowledge. It's just knowing. You can have it on the right side, middle side, left side, but you don't know how to articulate no matter what side you're putting it on. Does it?
It's following the rules of national international law. That's what I'm trying to do.
Because when we look at any document that we get, most of the time it's on the left side. Almost all the time it's on the left side. I put my seals on the right side. At least on my trust, it's on the right side.
Roger. All right, there you go.
But if you look it up and you find out what it is, shoot it in a text message, not in a text message. Bring it to next class. Once you do the flag reading of the flags and why they put them on one side versus the other side, and even in the documentation in terms of, like, if you think about any of the other organizations, they have the flags, the flag of the countries on this side, the seals on this side. I mean,
yes,
I
I'll
think
bring
it's
it up
what you
in
know.
the next class. Mm-hmm.
I don't get lost in all that. But again, you might be bringing some knowledge to me that I'm not aware of, but you got to kind of, are you going to change my interest? What? Athena, leave me alone. This long. Athena, you always messing with somebody. Leave me alone. That was the end of tonight's class. And we only went over one document. So out of all the documents, we only literally got to one. So the first class, we got through 1 through 4. Second class, we just got through the Declaration of Trust because I wanted you to read it. I wanted you to read all 10 pages because you needed to read all 10 pages. All the other documents are only going to be like 1 or 2 pages documents. So we might be able to finish the Declaration of Trust in maybe 1, at the very least 2 more classes. As long as the next class we get on topic at 7 o'clock versus 8 o'clock. And I think the Declaration of Trust was necessary to kind of just do the one document because it was 10 pages. Shauna be looking with such concern in her eyes. It's just such concern. Just, Shauna, do you still eat meat, Shauna? Don't lie. Yes, you do. You be eating burgers. Let me stop. Do you be eating?